Welcome everybody. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Come and join us. I can see people are logging in as we speak. Welcome to, what is it, our 7th session now. Can you believe it? 7 already. I cannot believe it's gone so quickly.
It has gone so fast. It's so good.
It is. I can see lots of names coming in and logging in. I can see Isla and Jessie and Michael. I can see Eleni, Elliot and Jacob. Welcome everybody. Welcome. I can see a Mohammed, I can see a Karina, a Tyler, Timmy. Welcome everybody. If it's your first time, welcome to Explorers at Home. We will do a proper introduction in a second once everybody is in and settled down and ready to start. And if you have been before, welcome back. We love having people back again. And if you sent us emails over the week, I've got them all and I've loved hearing from you. So wait for the end and we'll get to see what people have been sending in to me. Hello Zoe and Alyssa, hello Ruby, hello everybody. I can see some people have found the chat. Lots of hellos coming in there. Hello Michael and Charlotte, hello Stephen, hello.
Brilliant, I can see them in the chat too. It's really nice to see all those people joining.
It is, isn't it? Hello to Deborah, hello to the family girl. Hello Alice, Elliot and Jacob, hello Jocelyn, hello everybody. Wonderful. All right, I think it's nearly time to start. We're just going to let the last few people come in and we'll be ready to go. Amazing. If you've got anything to tell me, you can type it in the chat if you need to. Let's see, lots of hellos. We've got some people asking, where's Lizzie? Well, we'll explain that in a minute.
we will.
Hello, Timmy. Hello, Ellie. Nice to see you again, Mohammed. Hello. Hi, Isla. Perfect. Right, Kirsty, I think we're ready to go as well. So, welcome everybody, welcome to Explorers at Home. I'm going to pass to Kirsty. She is going to do a proper little hello for us and a welcome and an introduction to herself. And then we are going to be able to get started with our session. If you've got any questions, you can put them in the chat, but if you can't find the chat, I'll explain that in a minute. All right, over to you, Kirsty.
Thank you, Josie. So it's so lovely to be here for Explorers at Home. I'm so excited to be helping to present this today while Lizzie's off, and Josie can explain where she is in just a moment. We're here Thursday from 4 till 4:45 until the end of March. And in just a moment, Josie's going to explain to anybody who's joining for the first time and remind all those people that are coming back to join us today how you can get involved with our session, how you can do the games and what's going to happen for the next 45 minutes. I hope you have a brilliant time. We've got lots to share with you. So I'm going to pass you to Josie and she can explain how things are going to work.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kirsty. So if you're wondering where Lizzie is, we said last week that it's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Lizzie, if you're watching, but I suspect she's not because she's very busy having lots of fun of her own on her birthday. So Kirsty is here as our special guest to help us out today. She's hosting Lucky Us. I'm still here. I'm still helping in the background. So if you are new, you can get in touch with us through the chat. Can you see a little speech bubble button at the bottom in the middle of the screen? If you tap or click that, then a thing should pop up with the chat. You won't see messages from each other, but you will be able to send us messages. I can see them and then I can reply. And if you've got any problems, any questions, you can put them in there and I can help you out with that. We might ask you to write some things, tell us stories. Maybe I can read some out as we go along.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it is very busy in the chat, so I can't reply to everyone, but I'll do my best to reply when I can. The other thing to say is this session's being recorded and it will go on our social media and on our website after we are done. So please make sure you're happy about that. And you are muted and your cameras are off and that'll stay the same all the way through. We will do some polls and some questionnaires with our game later, but I'll explain how that works when we get to that point. So back to Kirsty, who will introduce our session. What's the theme today, Kirsty?
Oh, I'm so excited today, Josie. And actually, the sun has just started shining where I am, so it goes perfectly with our theme because today's theme for week 7 is spring senses. And the reason I'm so excited is because actually spring, probably out of all the seasons of the year, is my absolute favourite. I love the fact that we have 4 different seasons in this part of the world, and each one of them, spring, summer, autumn, winter, has its own special things. But I think spring is particularly special because it's that kind of feeling of new beginnings, and every day you go outside and there's something new to see or a different smell that you might notice or a sound that you might hear, and it just reminds me that spring is really here. So I'm really, really pleased that we're doing that theme this week, and it's almost time for us to get on with our first game. So our game today is all about something that really, really reminds you of spring, because at this time of year, lots of our animals are getting ready to find a mate and breed and have their young. And so our game today is all about babies that appear at springtime and who they might belong to. So we've got quite a catchy name for our game this week. And I'm just going to share my screen with you. Please let me know if it's not working for you, but hopefully you can see that, because our game is Who's the Baby? So I'm going to let Josie explain. Brilliant, that's fab.
All right.
So that's all ready. So what we're going to do in just a moment is for each of the slides, you're going to see a picture of a baby, of a creature, and you've got to work out who you think this baby belongs to. So whose baby are you? So let's have a look at our first one and see if you can guess. Okay. Oh, it's so cute, this one. I'm so glad we started with this one. I love it. Look at the whiskers. Can you guess who you think this baby is?
So let's get the first poll up. So when I click launch polling, it should appear on your screens. You can click one of the options there and then press submit, and it should send us your answer. We can see your answers coming in.
There's loads of people with answers coming in already, Josie.
It's brilliant.
Do you think it's a baby rabbit, a hare, a rat, or a beaver? So have a look at its features, see if you can work out which one you think it is. There's definitely two that seem to be most popular. We'll see if you're right in just a moment.
If that does pop up in the way of your screen and you can't see behind it, you can drag it out the way whenever you need to. That's absolutely fine. And if it doesn't work at all, you can type your answer in the chat. I like to see your answers in there too. You can send us messages, or you can just tell us what you voted for, because it's nice to see what you're voting in the chat. And if it isn't working at all for you, or if you're watching on the recording, then you won't see the poll. So don't worry about that, because Kirsty, just like she did, will always read out all the options and you can play along whenever you like. All right, so let's end that poll. And
I think everyone's had a go. Oh, it's pretty 50-50 over two different answers. So a lot of you seem to think that it might be a baby rabbit or a baby hare. So should we have a look and see who is right? I can tell you that the most popular answer was a baby hare, and you guys were absolutely right. So I wonder if you spotted why it might be a baby hare. I know that we were talking about this earlier, Josie, about how much you love the hare's ears. So what is it about the hare's ears that might have made them realise it was a baby hare?
Well, I particularly noticed the black tips on their ears. Can you see those black tips, everyone? Right at the very end, even when they're a baby, they've got those little marks, and that really shows them off. Also, those skinny ears and the long face. It's a really good indication that that's a leveret or a baby hare instead.
Yeah, I was just about to explain that baby hares are called leverets, and the females are called does, and the males are called bucks. And they'll be having their babies around this time of year. And actually the leverets are one of the few animals, the mammals, that are born all furry with their eyes open, because lots of our mammals are born with their eyes shut, and quite often they have to wait to grow their hair, but not leverets. They are born with hair open. Okay, let's have a go at our next creature. So here's the next one to guess. What do you think it might be? Is it, let's wait for the poll to pop up, a baby wasp, a baby butterfly, a baby beetle, or a baby moth? What do you think? Oh, there's lots of votes coming in, Josie.
There are lots of different options here. Those stripes are a big clue, I feel like, but they can also throw you off. I don't think I'd want to cuddle this one, even though it looks a little bit hairy. What about you?
No, because actually those hairs can often be a bit of an irritant, and those bright stripes on that baby are a bit of a warning sign to any predators that might be coming past to eat, to tell them that they're not good to eat. So lots of creatures use warning colours to defend themselves from predators, and this baby definitely does that. Shall we? Have we got enough votes in yet, Josie?
Yeah, let's see.
A big reveal. Okay, let's see if you're right. So there was a bit of a split. But most of you thought that this one was actually a baby butterfly, but actually the second most popular answer was a baby moth. And you people would be right, because that was the young of a cinnabar moth. Look at the beautiful colours on that. I just love those bright pinky red polka dots and the stripes. It's like they've been out to the shops and bought the most glamorous outfit they possibly could. And this is a moth. So most moths are nocturnal, which means they fly at night. But our cinnabar moth, you can quite often spot in the daytime, because it often flies during the day too. And if you spot those brightly striped tiggery coloured caterpillars, they might be feeding on ragwort, which is a wildflower that they like to feed on the plants of. Okay, good guesses, everybody.
Well done to Ellie, who even knew what kind of moth it was. That's amazing.
Super impressed. Well done, Ellie.
Super impressed.
Okay, here's our next baby. Oh, it's a chick. How fluffy is that? Look at that amazing beak and those fantastic camouflage feathers. So whose baby do you think this is? Is it a buzzard? Is it a tawny owl? Is it a barn owl? Or is it a baby blue tit? Let's see what you think. Sitting out there on the branch, and actually this particular youngster, that's what they do when they're almost ready to fledge and leave the nest. They will come out a few times from their nest hole and sit on a branch, kind of getting ready to practice to go for their first fly. So that's, you see these out branching, it's called, where they come out and sit on their nest just when they're getting ready to fledge. A few more votes coming in. Have a guess if you're not sure.
They look super cute. It's all fluff. You're right. It is all fluff.
It's like one big ball of fluff. So let's see. We've got lots of popular. There was 2 most popular answers. So lots of you thought it was a barn owl. Lots of you thought it was a tawny owl. And actually, most of you guessed right. It was a tawny owl. And there's our adult. Look at those talons. They are super useful for this particular owl because they need to be picking up their prey, and they use those talons to swoop down, grab their prey when they're catching it and they're flying at night. And they're normally found in the woodland are tawny owls. They're a woodland owl species. There is sitting beautifully camouflaged against, I think that's an oak tree. Am I right, Josie, looking at the bark?
I would guess the same, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So
Joanna says that we have a tawny owl living in our neighbour's barn, and Deborah says, I had a tawny owl in my garden at night. Aren't they lucky?
Oh, wow. Expect if it was in the garden at night, you probably heard it's cool. So it's the tawny owls that make that distinctive tweet-twoo, not very good an owl impression, cool. And if you hear that, most people often think it's just one owl making that noise, but it's actually the male and the female calling to each other and replying, and they do that when they're looking for a mate. So this time of year, you're most likely to hear that call when they're looking for a mate. It's about to be breeding season, and then they'll be looking for a really nice hole in a tree to go and make their nest and have those gorgeous fluffy chicks. So that's our tawny owl. Okay, who's up next? Whose baby is this? Oh, I love this one. I think this might actually be my favourite. Now, if you were watching one of our previous sessions, you might be able to work this one out fairly easily, because I know that Lizzie and Josie were telling you all about these guys. So is it a dragon, a frog, a newt, or a lizard? Which baby do you think it might be? Lots of guesses coming in, Josie.
I think people know this one very well.
They do. I think there's lots of repeat people on today that were there for your amphibian session. Noticed its very, very long fingers. I wonder if who were there can tell me what was important about its really long fingers, because this guy was the baby of this amazing Grey-Crested newt. And the baby newt, the newteft, had those amazing long fingers. And if you remember, there was an identifying feature about newts to do with their fingers. And this one has got painted fingernails. They're bright yellow. The tips of their hands there, the tips of their feet are painted yellow. And this is a male Grey-Crested newt. And I know that because of this amazing crest on its back. It almost looks like a dragon. And they have those crests during the breeding season when they're visiting ponds. And they use them to kind of wave around and do a dance to impress the females when they're looking for a mate. So it's only the males that get a really big crest. And on their bellies, look at that amazing yellow and black spots. Each and every newt has its own individual pattern. So you can actually know when you've caught a particular newt and if you see that newt again, because their patterns are as individual as our fingerprints. So they're unique to that newt. Fantastic. Good guessing, guys. Loads of people got that one right. Okay, who's up next? Whose baby are you? Oh, this one looks a bit strange. I think if I was guessing, I might think it was something out of the ordinary. Baby
alien, if it was up to me.
Yeah, I think I might too. But your choices are, is it a baby slug, a baby butterfly, a baby millipede, or a baby ladybird? What do you think? Make your choices now. Look at those spikes. You can see there, its legs, it's got 1, 2, 3 on that side and 3 on the other side. So that gives you a good clue too, because it's got 6 legs. Do you think we're ready to reveal the answer, Josie?
I think so. Let's see. Here they are.
Let's see. What was it? Most of you, it was a bit split this time. Lots of people thought it might be a baby millipede. Few people thought it was a slug and a butterfly, and some of you thought it was a ladybird. And if you guessed ladybird, you would be right. There is our adult ladybird. That was actually the larvae from this particular type of ladybird. There are lots of different kinds. This is the 7-spot ladybird. It's got 3 spots on each of its wing cases that you can see just opening there, and then 1 spot in the middle. And this one is just getting ready to fly. So it's just opening its wing cases, and it's going to fly to find some food or perhaps away from danger. And it's another one of our creatures that uses those amazing bright colours to warn off predators and say, don't eat me, I don't taste good, leave me alone. And Josie, you had an amazing fact about ladybird eating habits earlier, because they can eat up to 5,000 aphids in a year.
5,000 is crazy.
Yeah.
I've just seen some slow-mo videos of them on YouTube where they're really close up and you see this adorable pretty ladybird, and then it goes through this field of aphids just tearing them apart like a crazy predator. They look terrifying if you're an aphid, but from our perspective they're very pretty.
They are, and actually if you're a farmer or a gardener, they're actually very helpful, because they help to control those aphids and make sure there's not too many of them to eat farmers and gardeners' plants. So they're known as the gardener's friends too. Lovely ladybird. Right, who's up next? Let's have a look. Oh, now this one has got the 2p coin just for size. I'm a little sad there, but I think it's just a photograph. So whose baby do you think this is? What are our choices, Josie? We've got, is it a baby mole, a baby mouse, a baby hedgehog, or a baby human? Now, those of you who've got brothers and sisters might be a bit worried if you choose the baby human. Let's see, lots of guesses coming in. There's definitely one answer that seems to be more popular than the others, and that might be because you guys were watching the previous session all about Lizzie's very favourite creature. That might be a massive giveaway.
That's a huge giveaway. What do you think, everyone?
Is a baby hedgehog, and I wonder if you can remember what a baby hedgehog is called. Perhaps you could pop it in the chat, because I know Lizzie was talking to you about that last week in the hedgehog session. So our baby hedgehog, as you can see from the photo, when they're born with their eyes shut and with no spines, and then they grow their first spines, which are white, quite soon. And actually they have to grow up pretty quick, because baby hedgehogs are born, the earliest litters are around April time, and they only stay with their mother for between 4 and 7 weeks, and then they have to go out foraging on their own for food. And your challenge from a previous week was to find some hedgehog food. So I wonder if you can remember the kinds of things that hedgehogs like to eat. What answers have we got in the chat, Josie? Does anyone remember?
We know loads of people know the name of hedgehogs. Leah and Tyler and Timmy and Ellie. Loads and loads and loads of people know the answer is by Hoglet for a baby hedgehog.
Yeah.
And Lauren says she hasn't got one wrong yet. Well done.
Lauren, that's amazing. You've been doing super well with our quiz today. Fantastic.
And Ellie thinks that they eat slugs, and Joanna says worms and insects, and Lauren says yay. And Michael and Charlotte think they're so cute, which I agree. They are absolutely beautiful, aren't they?
They totally are. They are. Well done. Lots of people remembering some interesting facts from our hedgehog session. Okay, let's see whose baby we've got next. Oh, interesting one, this one. So whose baby do you think this is? Who do you belong to? What are our choices? Let's have a look. Is it a baby cricket, a baby dragonfly, a baby wasp, or a baby praying mantis? What do you think? If you have a look carefully at that photograph, you can see some really interesting features of this particular creature. It's got some rather large mouth parts at the front here, and some good clues as to what type of creature it might be, because it's got 1, 2, 3 legs on this side and 3 on the other, so 6 legs altogether, and it's got these 3 kind of tails at the end too. So what have we got? Have we got all our guesses?
Some people in the chat are saying they don't know at all. It is a hard one, I agree.
It is really hard,
and it doesn't even look like a baby, so it's quite a challenge. So let's see what people voted for.
It is. Let's go. Let's have a look. Oh, really, really mixed. So we've got quite a few people think it might be a baby cricket or wasp. Quite a lot of you think it might be a baby praying mantis, and I can totally understand why. But if you guessed that it was a baby dragonfly, you would be right. That was the nymph of an emperor dragonfly. So you can see the adult here flying over a pond, and the dragonflies only live as adults for a few months. So you might see these on the wing towards the end of spring. So they start flying anytime from kind of May, and they'll fly all the way through to September, feeding above the pond, hunting for insects and finding a mate. And then the females will egg lay. You might see them landing on the pond and dipping that tail, that long tail, into the water. And if you see them doing that, that's when they're laying their eggs. And out of those eggs will then hatch the nymph that we saw in our previous slide. And those nymphs can stay in the pond for 1 or 2 years, and some types of dragonflies even up to 7 years, but emperors it's about 1 or 2 years. And they shed their skin, getting bigger and bigger, hunting for food in the pond, and sometimes they even get big enough to take small fish. So they can get really,
wow, do they?
Before, yeah, really, obviously fish fry, not fully grown fish, but
I'll have it.
munching their way through with those big mouth parts, their amazing jaws. And that's our emperor dragonfly, a really good spot when you're out near some ponds and water in the spring and summer. Okay, this is our last game. Oh, look at you. What do you think it's a baby of? Is it a baby pigeon, a baby parrot, a baby eagle, or a baby goose?
Isn't it adorable? Look at the cute little fluff.
I'm not sure that these are blessed in the looks department, but look at that. Just looking as if to say, I know I might look a bit scruffy, but please love me.
Elliot thinks, no, not Elliot, sorry. Ellie thinks it's a baby dodo, and Jessie thinks it could be a parrot,
Yes.
Maybe. It's a tricky one. It looks a bit strange.
It is really tricky. I think this is one of the hardest, because all of those choices are birds, and it's quite obvious it was a bird because it's got feathers and a beak. But what type of bird is the tricky bit? Let's have a look and see how we're doing.
Yeah, have a really good guess, even if you've got no idea, everybody.
Just have a stab in the dark. Don't worry if you get it wrong. It doesn't matter. It's just for fun.
It's all about the fun. Let's see what the answers are then. Here they are.
Oh, really even spread. I'm not surprised. So actually, out of those answers, most people think it might be an eagle, but if you guessed that it was a pigeon, you would be right. That is a baby pigeon known as a squab, and this is a wood pigeon, and those wood pigeons lay up to 6 clutches a year. So if the first clutch don't hatch, and they can take about 17 days to hatch pigeon eggs, then they'll lay another one later on in the season. But they only lay 2 eggs at a time, 1 or 2 eggs in their clutch, whereas other birds might lay lots of eggs, up to kind of 8 or 9 eggs in a nest. But pigeons only lay 2, and then they might have another clutch later on to try and make sure that they have babies that reach fledglings. And baby pigeons take about 30 to 34 days to fledge, which means they're ready to leave the nest. So that was our squab. To finish off our game, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to you guys. Oh, that was brilliant. I'm so proud of everybody. Lots of correct guesses, lots of amazing information that people knew. That was really, really good. Well done, guys. Fantastic. Okay, what's the time, Josie? What have you got in the chat?
Oh, lots of things in the chat. We've been told that they are very weird looking babies. And you know what, I agree. And one person was asking if we have eagles in the UK, and we do have eagles in the UK. We have the 3 types of eagle, which is pretty cool. Up in Scotland, you've got the giant white-tailed eagles and golden eagles, and you know, they've even released white-tailed eagles down on the Isle of Wight, and they have flown over Surrey. So if you see something and you go, that looks like a barn door just flying in the sky, that's how you know it's an eagle, because they're flipping huge. So they're very, very cool, and it's worth looking up that project, which is amazing.
Yeah, and they know where they've flown. Yeah, because they'll have those tracking collars or on their feet, or where they've been tagged, and then they can trace where they've flown across the UK, which is how we know that it's flown across Surrey. So it is worth looking out. The saying, Josie, that you were referring to about the size of eagles, if you think you've seen an eagle, you haven't, because they're so big, you know when you have.
That's true.
that's the kind of top tip to keep in your head.
Well, Kirsty, I think it's time for our craft, and I'm really excited for this. Kirsty's going to share her screen so that we can show you what the craft is first, because it is one of the most pretty crafts I think we've done, and I'm definitely going to have a go myself this week because it is really, really nice. It's one that you'll be able to keep for quite a while, and I think you guys are going to like it. So, perfect. Kirsty, over to you.
There we go. So today we're going to be making a dream catcher, leaf mosaic, or actually you could make it into a spring flower mosaic dream catcher. It ties really nicely in with our spring senses theme, because the first challenge that you're going to need to do is to collect some things in order to make your dream catcher. And when you're out and about in the garden or on your spring walk, perhaps you could think about collecting things that really mean spring to you. I know for me, when I spot those snowdrops first popping their heads up, and then some of the blossom on trees and some of the leaves start to open when the buds are on the trees too, those are the things that make me think of spring. So perhaps when you're collecting your things for your dream catcher, you can really use your senses and tie it in nicely with that. So that's what we're going to be making, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're going to need to gather a few bits, and we'll send you all the information at the end of our session today. So you'll get an email with all the equipment that you need and the steps of how to make your dream catcher too. And it's really lovely as well because it involves doing a little bit of recycling, which, as we all know, is really good for our environment and the planet, because you need to reuse something. So one of the things you need to get is one of these, which is a plastic lid from I think this is from a Greek yogurt actually, but lots of soups and different things have these. So I've used one that I had for my lunch yesterday when I was eating my yogurt, and you're going to need that. And the very first thing you're going to need to do with it is to make a hole in the plastic lid. So I'm going to use a rather sharp skewer, but you could use a screwdriver, a small one, or a sharp pencil. And it's probably a good idea to get an adult to help you with this, because when you press it through, you need to make sure that you've got a surface that you're not going to damage and you haven't got your fingers anywhere nearby. And one top tip was to stick a blob of blue tack on the end of your skewer so that when you put it through, it's not going to go into anything. So you just need to press down and make your hole. So once you've made your hole, you can twist the skewer through and make sure that you've got a nice big hole there. And you want to put one hole at the top to hang your dream catcher from, and then you want to put about 3 holes along the bottom so that you can hang the different things off that you want to show us. So once you've done that, the next thing you want to do is to get your collection of spring things, so whatever you found when you were out and about on your walk. I've got some petals from my camellia bush that blew off in the mad wind that we had earlier today, and I've got some leaves from one of the plants in my garden, and I also picked a primrose flower. If you're going to take any flowers off plants, obviously we don't like to pick the whole plant. Definitely don't do that, and make sure that you take it from a plant that's got plenty of other flowers, so there's some food left for our pollinators if there's early bees around looking for some food, and that for other people to enjoy too. So if it's got lots of flowers on, it's really not a problem for you to take one. So once you've got your collection, then you're going to need to cover your lid in glue. Now I'm using a mixture in my pot of PVA and some water, because that means that it's really easy to spread, and you can cover the leaves really, really well with that too. But you could also use Prick Stick, that will stick down really well as well. So you want to get your lid and put a nice covering of glue onto your lid.
What do you guys think you would use on yours, everyone? If you're going to go out collecting things and you're going to make your own, what sort of lovely things are you going to find? And what ideas do you think you could have to make it your own in your own special way?
Useful. So once you've got a bit of glue on there, you can start building up your design. It's a good idea to think about what you want to use first. So I'm going to put that beautiful primrose in the middle.
Pretty.
And then I'm going to use
lavender. That would be really nice, wouldn't it?
It's very funny you should say that, Evie, because that's one of the things that I've chosen to hang from my one that I made earlier, because it's a beautiful fragrance. So not only is it going to look like spring, but it's going to smell like spring too. So we can have more than one sense when we're using our spring dream catcher. So the next job is just to build up your mosaic. If you've ever done a mosaic before, you have to use little squares of coloured tiles to make the picture. And this time, instead of using squares of coloured tiles or paper, I'm using little bits of leaf that I've cut out. So you just need to build it up, leave a little gap in between each one. until you've got a really lovely design all over your spring Suncatcher. So here's one I did earlier.
Tyler says they're going to use wolf fur. Can you imagine? That would.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where you're getting the wolf fur from, but go for it.
So once you've built up your amazing picture, then you need to cover the whole thing with another layer of PVA. So just wipe that over the top once you've stuck it down. And then the really good thing about the PVA and water is that it dries clear. So when you hang that up in the window, the sun's going to be able to shine through and give you a really good effect. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to attach yourself a piece of wool or string to hang your dream catcher from, and then choose your different things from your walk or that you found in your garden that remind you of spring to hang underneath. So here's something I found on my walk earlier, a beautiful feather that we think, Josie, was from a jay. Am I right in thinking that?
I think so. It's got those one blue edge with the little black and blue stripes along it, and that's how you know that's a jay feather. We've also got, I think Ollie says he's going to use dodo feathers, another very fun suggestion.
That would be very...
And I love Lauren says that there'll be no more nightmares, which is true. People believe that if you hang these over your bed, then your dreams can get filtered through the patterns and the woven string and all of the good thoughts you put into making it, and that can stop your dreams from being scary. So I think you should try it. It's a really, really good idea.
And I was reading that if you put feathers on your dream catcher, it's the feathers that are meant to float those happy dreams down to your head when you're sleeping. So you've got a feather to add, even better. So then you can tie each of your different things that you want to use in your dream catcher on the bottom. And I've got another one that I made earlier too, which has got some things from my walk from a couple of days ago. So on this one, I've got a pine cone that I found, some lovely lavender, and the blossom from, I think this is from a white cherry tree. So I've got some blossom on there, all things that remind me of spring. And then all you've got left to do is to find a sunny window, the sun's streaming in through my window right now, and hang that up, and there's your dream catcher. I think they're going to look amazing. I can't wait to see the photos of what you managed to make. Good luck. I hope you have lots of fun, and don't forget to make it have lots of signs of spring.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I really enjoy that one, especially that one, Kirsty. It looks so nice. I'm going to just remove your spotlight now and put us back to gallery view for everyone to see. And in the chat, we've got so many great ideas, but honestly, what I'm most excited by is all of you guys sending in your photos of your completed ones so that I get to see them, the things that you've made. I mean, I've been sharing lots today, haven't I, Kirsty? There's been so many really nice things being shared this week. So send us your pictures. Even if you haven't got pictures of your crafts to send in, you can send in pictures of pretty much any cool wildlife or any fun things that you've found and discovered, any adventures you've been on. Send us everything, because we just like to see it.
And when you're out and about, look out for those signs of spring and send us in what really makes you think that it's springtime. And don't worry if the weather goes a bit pear-shaped, which it definitely did today, because that is something to be embraced too, because at this time of year you can get 4 seasons all in one day. You go out and it's sunny, and then the next minute there's a big black cloud and there's a hailstorm and rain, and they say there's no such thing as the wrong weather, just the wrong clothing. So just make sure you've got an extra layer proof, and you can go out whatever the weather. Perfect. And enjoy those spring scents.
Right, well, I think it's time for our challenge. And to go with our challenge this week, we're gonna meld it in together with sound of the week. So Kirsty, will you do the honors?
I've been practicing. Are you ready?
Hooray, sound of the week. Beautifully done. Well done. So our sound of the week this week is one of my favorite sounds in the whole world. It just makes me feel wonderful, and I'm hoping it will do the same for you. I know our nightjar sound the other day gave some people headaches, so hopefully this will balance that out a little bit. So get your speakers turned up, everybody. I am going to share my sound with you now, just the sound only, and I would like, if you fancy it, I challenge you to close your eyes while you listen to this one and see what sort of images come into your head while you're listening. So eyes closed. Are we ready? Oh, that's just so peaceful, isn't it? The most
Oh,
wonderful
it
sound.
was so lovely. And as I was listening, Josie, I was trying really hard to focus on each different bird song. And for every different one I thought I heard, I put my fingers up, and I think I got to 5.
That's
So
a lot, isn't it?
yeah, how many others you could hear in that amazing sound. And I want pictures they got in their heads as well when they had their eyes shut.
Yeah, I would love to hear that too, actually. So tell me what you were thinking about while you were listening to all of those sounds. And this isn't just we're learning one bird call today. This is about the whole orchestra of birds singing together. Because that wasn't just the sound of birds in the woodland. That was quite a special moment. That was the dawn chorus. So at dawn, when the sun has just risen, and at dusk, when the sun is just going down, birds don't just sing like any other time of day. They all sing together, and they sing extra loud, because that's when they are defending their territories, telling every other bird, this is my space. And that's when they are also trying to make sure that any other birds around them that might be interested in making babies, then they can get their mates to hear them as well. So they're really, really important moments. The dawn chorus is gorgeous. So there's so many beautiful sounds there. And it just makes me feel really well. So let's see. Some people want to hear it again. I will play it again for you. Deborah says, I pictured a nice sunny tree with birds and a nice leaf top. Some people could hear green parakeets and wrens and blue tits.
Yeah.
It's really lovely, isn't it? A forest teeming with birds. Oh, and Evie says, my cat is very interested in the sound. So
yes,
I'm
glad that my dog is not in here now.
So I'll play it again and just let it wash over you. If you want to count how many different types of birds you can hear, that's quite fun. But if you also just want to relax, it's just a really nice, peaceful sound. So are we ready? Oh, I could just listen to that forever. You can all go. I'm just going to keep listening to that. So our challenge this week is going to connect to this little moment, the dawn chorus. And our challenge this week is to listen to the dawn chorus for one day this week. Now, that might mean setting your alarm a little bit earlier than usual. It is currently, dawn is around 6:30 at the moment. So if you set it's around 6:30. So if you set your alarms for 6:15, you could make your breakfast, take it outside, make sure you tell your family, don't just wander out without them. All you would need to do is stand by your doorstep or sit in your garden. Or if you're really lazy like me, what you can do is just stay in your bed. And if you can reach the window from bed, you don't even have to get up, and just open the window, tuck yourself in more so you don't get cold, and just listen for one morning to the dawn chorus. It will vary, it'll be different depending on where you are. Everyone will get a different dawn chorus, and I think that's quite special too. So
it is, and actually you might notice, Josie, that you get different birds singing at different points in the dawn chorus too. So birds like the skylark and the blackbirds are often the first ones to sing. And there is a saying, the early bird catches the worm. And actually those are the birds that tend to eat worms. And then birds like the wrens and warblers join the dawn chorus a little bit later. They're the smaller birds, and actually that might be because they are the ones that eat more insects, and the insects are around a little bit later on in the day. And people do think that actually they don't cope as well in the cold either, because they've got to keep their body temperature up, and because they're so small they don't get up to a little bit later on, which might be why you're not so good at getting out of bed too early either, Josie.
That makes a lot of sense.
Different birds at different times of the dawn chorus, so it's worth listening out for.
I like that. And also Kirsty was telling me earlier on today about this time of year is a great time for the dawn chorus, because we've got lots of birds who are coming in just for the summer, are just beginning to arrive, and the birds that only spend the winter in this country, some of them are still here. So we've got quite a big mix of birds at the moment. And if you wanted to go for the best time of year of all, it's just when they start to breed and make nests. and there is a special day. When is it, Kirsty?
I think it's at the beginning of May. It's National Dawn Chorus Day, and that's where lots of people try and go out on the same day and record birdsong and listen to it. If you can do it again, then it would be amazing. But you'd have to get up even earlier, because by May, sunrise is at 5:30. So you need to be up about 5:15 or even earlier to catch that dawn chorus. And yes, as Josie was saying, you might then hear different birds, because things like the chiff-chaffs and the blackcaps have migrated into our part of the country by then, and you'll notice them in the dawn chorus later on in the year. Whereas at this time of year, it's all of our resident birds. You'll hear the robins and things that are here all year round, as well as some of our migrants that are here for the winter. I spotted a redwing today when I was out for a walk, and I was thinking, I'm sure they should have been up and left by now, because they're only winter visitors, but actually they're with us until kind of the end of March, April, before they start flying. So as Josie was saying, we've got a real mixture of some migrating in, some migrating out, and it's a really good time to listen right now. But if you want to do it again on Dawn Chorus Day, wait till May.
Perfect. So let us know if you take on that challenge. You could even send in a little recording of your own dawn chorus for us to listen to as well.
That would be amazing.
Really nice. Wouldn't that be special? So that is everything we have time for this week. We're actually dead on time, if you believe it or not. So we are going to wrap up now. What I need to say is, as always, make sure you sign up for next week, because the joining link for your parents is different every time. And if you only sign up for 1 week, you only get the link for 1 week. So please don't miss out. Make sure you tell your parents, nag them. I tell you to nag them, so that they can join up for next week and you can come along. We have got Lizzie back again next week, and an extra special guest. So we've got a guest expert joining us next week. Katie Fielding will be coming in to talk all about our theme, which is powerful plants. So I'm very excited, because I used to think plants were boring, believe it or not, Kirsty, but I've learned so much about them since, that actually there's some pretty cool things to know about plants, and we will be learning all about them.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, extra hands-on as well. And I will be sending out in my email tomorrow, as always, all of the links and instructions for your activities that we've shown you today, with some extra bonus bits in there as always. So make sure you ask your parents to keep an eye out for that email, so that you can make your own crafts and your beautiful dream catchers, just like Kirsty did. Okay, and last
I'll
thing,
have to tune in specially, won't I, to see them?
yeah, please do. I'll make sure I send you them anyway, Kirsty. I don't want you to miss out on anything. And the Day of the Dinosaurs, as I mentioned last week, is coming up as well. So if you haven't booked it yet, book it now, because Day of the Dinosaurs online is going to be one of our best events. I'm really excited. And if you love dinosaurs like we do, then you should absolutely come. So don't miss out with that. Perfect. Lots of nice messages in the chat. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad you enjoyed the session. Oh, perfect. Louise says, well done, Kirsty. And then lastly, I think it's time to share our art. So as I said, we've had so many lovely stories and messages shared, and we've even got some congratulations to give out today, because we've had some really dedicated, really dedicated people in our group. Our explorers, you are all amazing. You are all working so hard to help wildlife, and that's what makes the difference, making little changes near you to help save and protect animals in your local area. So it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.
And goodbye from me too. It's been really lovely joining you this week, and I shall tune in and listen to all the things that are going on next week too. So don't forget, we'll be here next Thursday. Bye. Just